On India Upfront, viewers, we always take the bolder stand on the bigger story. Viewers, 23 MPs in total have been suspended over the last 2 days from the Houses of Parliament. Now forget for a moment the war of words that has erupted between the government or the Treasury benches and the opposition over these suspensions. The opposition said this is a vendetta. The government says through the BJP that this punishment is deserved. The decorum of the House is essential to a fully functioning democracy. But let's just set aside all of this rancor, these counter-attacks, accusations. Let's just set it aside for the moment. Let's begin with the basics tonight. Let's ask if Parliament is serving us, and if not, what is that one reason why it isn't? First, why do we elect MPs? We elect them so that as our representatives, MPs can raise issues on our behalf, voice our concerns, your concerns, and ensure that legislation is passed to make our lives, your lives easier, productive, and more meaningful. Have our MPs fulfilled their role in this regard? Now let's examine the facts. Viewers, on this show, the facts speak. The only show in the business where the facts speak, because I want you to get closer to the truth and understand why certain things are happening. The first graphics that we're going to put on the screen, it tells you that the Lok Sabha now sits lesser than it has done in India's independent history. Look at your screens. Between 1952 and 1970, 121 days the Lok Sabha sat and did business. Between 2000 and 2022, the last 22 years, only 68 days. It's a dramatic fall. Dramatic fall, viewers. Number of days the Lok Sabha sits has fallen drastically. Why should this be the case? It is because instead of discussing bills in the House, more and more of them are being referred at the instance of opposition to standing committees. I'm not saying opposition only BJP, only Congress, all opposition at different points in time. In fact, several reports, including one prepared by the National Commission to review the working of the Constitution, have recommended that houses should sit at least 120 days. But as you can see, this has been ignored. Now let's turn to lawmaking, which is another important function performed by MPs. In this, the statistics are even more bleak. In the 8th Lok Sabha, 355 bills were passed. In the 15th Lok Sabha, that number crashed to 192 bills, viewers, 2009 to 2014. Now that was the most disrupted session. That's why you also saw. But that number hasn't picked up. That number hasn't picked up dramatically, viewers. And there is a problem here. This isn't a shame, as it is a tragedy. More and more bills are falling prey to partisan politics. What about question hour? Let's look at the statistics, the facts. Has this question hour being fully utilized? This hour is that period of 60 minutes when questions are asked of ministers on governance. These questions are supposed to be asked on your behalf. The answer is no. Owing to disruptions, ministers have only answered a minuscule proportion of questions posed to them. Look at the statistics. 16th Lok Sabha, 2014 to 2019, 18% of start questions orally answered because question hour is routinely disrupted, viewers. Routinely. They run into the well of the House. They throw papers, flash placards. Some of them resort to fisticuffs, intimidate speakers. What happens? House adjourned. Same old story. 15th Lok Sabha, 2009 to 2014, the most disrupted House, only 10% of start questions orally answered. So there can be no counter because of disruptions. Now, viewers, as you can see, the situation is critical. Even your questions are going unanswered because of disruptions. This session, the situation is even more dire. Let's look at question hour this session. July 18th, Lok Sabha, question hour, 0%. Rajya Sabha, 0%. July 19th, Lok Sabha, 0.2% and Rajya Sabha, 0%. July 20th, they did very well. Lok Sabha, 0.25%, Rajya Sabha, 0%. July 21st, Lok Sabha, 0.67%. Wow, what an improvement, viewers. Rajya Sabha, 0.83%. Almost doubled its productivity, viewers, by 0.83%. July 22nd, Lok Sabha, 0.22% and Rajya Sabha, 0.92% is the House of Elders. July 25th, Monday, Lok Sabha, 0.33%. Rajya Sabha, a big fat 0%, viewers. Clearly something needs to be done to get the houses to function, to serve us. Om Birla, the speaker, has had enough. He feels that rule need to be applied to ensure MPs behave so the parliament can actually serve us. He said this, viewers. Listen to what he said. He said, on the floor of the House, don't misrepresent or misinterpret my kind-heartedness. Placards and slogans outside Parliament. Nation wants the Parliament to function. House can't function amid disruption. Won't allow disruptions to continue. He made this statement last week. Now, viewers, if he applies the rules so that Parliament can actually serve us, does this reek of a dictatorial attitude on his behalf? Let's examine the facts. Whilst the opposition says that they're exercising their democratic rights by raising placards in the well of the House and disrupting houses to force the government to debate on vital issues, what does the Code of Conduct really say? Again, facts. This is the Code of Conduct. 1952 Code of Conduct, MPs cannot interrupt the speech of other MPs. Can you believe it, viewers? This is a Code of Conduct. But here it happens routinely, to our loss. The Code of Conduct 1952 says, maintain silence, no hissing or commentaries. Can you imagine that, viewers? Today, hissing, they shout, they scream, they throw things. 1989, updated Code of Conduct. Can't shout slogans, display placards, tear papers. That's what the Code of Conduct says. 89. No BJP government then. You can't play cassettes, tape recorders inside the House. Rule 374A added in 2001, Speaker allowed to suspend MPs for disruption, disallows MPs coming into the well of the House, disallows persistent and willful abuse of the rules, bars obstruction by shouting slogans and placards. By applying the rules, is the Speaker hindering democracy or is he crushing it? Is he crushing it or is he enabling it? Aren't lawmakers who are elected to oblige by oath to uphold the rules and laws they have helped shape? If so, then why is the opposition blaming the NDA for applying the rules that were passed under other opposition governments in the past? What's going on? Let's ask some questions. Let's open this up. Shehzad Poonawala is with us. Dr. Santanu Sen, MP of the Rajya Sabha, spokesperson of the TMC, is suspended from the House. He's with us. Dr. V. Sivadasan, CPIM MP of the Rajya Sabha, he's with us. Tushar Gupta is with us, senior editor of Swaraj, and Shehzad Poonawala. Let me ask you, Dr. Santanu Sen, you say that the NDA is murdering democracy. Now, Dr. Sen, murdering democracy by applying laws that were brought in by certain governments that were not BJP governments in the past. And if these laws are being applied in full letter and spirit, brought in by other governments, run by other parties, not the BJP, how can the BJP be singled out or the Speaker be singled out for being an instrument of dictatorship? It's a simple, straightforward question. Don't you think the people deserve better? I've shown you the statistics, sir. You've seen the state that the disruption they've reduced Parliament to, it doesn't even work for what it has been set up for. Should we be enabling this? Or should we be supporting this action and saying, okay, maybe we've crossed the line, maybe we need to go back to the ideal? Doctor.
May I start my answer, please?
Yes, sir, please.
I was listening to your very good words, very good sounds. I was listening to your very good words very minutely and carefully. You were talking about code of conduct. With all humility, I would like to remind you, there is also a rule book. So for the code of conduct, a parliamentary procedure is concerned. Let me tell you, in that rule book, there is one rule, Rule 267, where each and every member has got the right to ask any question on any burning issue. He has got the right to request the chair to suspend all other businesses if there is really any issue of immense importance at that particular point of time. Don't you think there is a duty of the government to run the parliament properly? Don't you believe that the parliamentary force is always for the oppositions? Had it been during the previous government, don't you think the opposition parties were allowed several times to speak out their mind whenever they wanted to? And now you are talking about few statistics. Now you have to allow me to show you some more statistics which will prove how undemocratic this present government is. How many bills were passed in last 3 years? What percentage of those bills were sent to the select committee and standing committee? How many percentage of bills were got scrutinized in last few years? What is the average time duration per bill this government has spent? How many bills were brought in by the backdoor process like ordinance process? How many 267 questions, 267 notices were entertained? The answer is big zero. Not a single 267 notice has been entertained. It is the court of Arun Jaitley ji and Sushma Swaraj ji. They are not amongst us right now. They have left for their heavenly abodes. They used to say, yeah, constructive criticism and constructive opposition is the part of the parliamentary democracy. What we have seen during the last monsoon session, we were protesting against Pegasus 5 where I was suspended for the whole session. Can you say that the demand for discussion on price hike is illegitimate one? Don't you face the side effects of the exorbitant price hike? Don't you think that each and every member has got the right to have the discussion? Let me tell you, when the farmer bill was discussed, it was not the agriculture minister but it was the defense minister who spoke on farmer bill. Then why now this government is showing a lame excuse that the present finance minister is having COVID? I wish a speedy recovery as a doctor. But when the opposition leaders are telling unanimously, okay, forget about finance minister, her MOS or any other minister, prime minister or even leader of the house is also a minister,
okay.
Mrs. Goelji, anyone should address this price hike issue.
Okay.
Instead of that, they are bringing some bills which are of less importance.
Okay.
Don't you think they are murdering the democracy? I personally believe this is not Dr. Santanu Sen, a member has been suspended. The entire parliamentary democracy has been suspended.
Sir,
ruined,
was
spoiled,
the parliamentary
murdered,
democracy suspended? I'm asking you this question, Dr. Sen. No, 1 second. Dr. Sen, was parliamentary democracy or democracy suspended when 3 BJP MLAs were suspended April 2021, Odisha Assembly? 5th July 2021 Maha Assembly, 12 BJP MLAs suspended for 1 year. Why? For abusing, manhandling Speaker in the chair. Speaker ambushed over OBC quota. Then, sir, in 2015, Kerala Assembly, LDF disruptive budget speech. The fallout was SC refuses to quash criminal charges. Desk, mics, everything were flung. Computers were damaged. Lok Sabha 2014, Ruckus over Telangana creation. 16 MPs were suspended. Was that also suspension of democracy, sir? 2005 Lok Sabha, Ruckus over Bangladeshi infiltrators. Mamta resigned on same day, but it was rejected. Mamta throws papers on speaker in protest, cries in house and said illegals put in voter list. Was that suspension of democracy? Simple questions to you, sir. It has happened in the past. When certain speakers have decided enough is enough, I have to impose order. That time you didn't cry.
I am having ready-made answer to your question, my
Please,
dear.
Sir, go ahead.
I am having ready-made I am having ready-made answer to your question, my dear.
Please, sir.
I am not a member of Kerala Assembly or Odisha Assembly, so I don't have any idea about that.
So
but I can tell you in our West
depending
Bengal
on the
Legislative
party
Assembly,
that is affected. Okay, fair enough.
Get enough opportunity
you
to speak out.
You have no qualms about what is happening in the state legislature, even though you want to rule the country. The TMC positions itself as tomorrow the alternative to the BJP and wants to be a national alternative to the BJP, but cares nothing for what happens in other assemblies because it doesn't suit your narrative. Perhaps that's what you're trying to say. Look, I'm not being critical here, sir. Please understand. I showed you statistics. There is a crisis. I'm only asking what is the best way to resolve the crisis. Is suspension the best way to resolve the crisis, Mr. Poonawala? The TMC says no. You are murdering democracy. You're throttling it. The voice of freedom, of the voice of the people in the Lok Sabha is being throttled. Please respond to him. You heard the points he raised.
Democracy is murdered when the High Court has to say it's not rule of law but the law of the ruler in post-poll violence. Democracy is murdered when, I will tell you date-wise, when these people were with the Congress. 2013, 9 MPs suspended, 2010, 7 MPs suspended, 2012, 8 MPs suspended. At that time, this was all good suspension and now it is bad suspension. So this is a suspension of their logic. Now let me come to the fact and the debate actually. Look, Samvidhan, Sansad, Sena ka apmaan is Congress party ki pehchaan. And this entire महंगाई is a bahana. संसद को हॉस्टेज करवाना एंड सियासत है चमकाना. लेट मी टेल यू व्हाई. दिस इज जयराम रमेश's tweet. You know it costs lakhs and lakhs of rupees per minute to run parliament. Mr. Jairam Ramesh almost taking credit for it. Today the opposition led by Congress got Rajya Sabha adjourned for the day. Is it a badge of honor? And on what issues? Look at their issues. Their issues are that why is the lion angry in the national emblem? Their issues are that why did Mallikarjun Kharge not get an appropriate seat? This is Mr. Jaitley is sitting in the same place Mr. Kharge was sitting. Their issue is that a circular which was issued time and again by Parliament House Security, it was said that there's a dharna ban now. Their issue is that there's a word ban where there was no word ban. It was an expunged words list which you have just spoken about. So their issue is ED is investigating the corrupt people of this country on the basis of court orders. These are their real issues. And today their issue is what? Their issue is again that look, we do not want to allow discussion on price rise. Look, today we have said very clearly we want a discussion on price rise. Last time also there was a discussion on price rise. Who ran away?
No, they were assaulting. The finance minister must come back and answer. He's saying, Dr. Sen is saying that at the height of the agitation on the farm laws, it was the defense minister that responded, not the agricultural minister. So why can't somebody else step in and give a response to the opposition?
I'll answer that question. Now, first of all, tell me that if they were so perturbed of having this discussion, last session also they were saying price rise should be discussed. There was a discussion that was organized. They ran away. Before that, in the last monsoon session, they wanted a discussion on COVID. When we said, let's come discuss COVID and vaccination, they ran away. Let me tell you that they do not want samvad, they want vivad. They don't want conversation, they want confrontation. They don't want discussion, they want disruption. This is because they believe in parivar tantra, not in lok tantra. And I'll give you a last example of it. They say we don't cooperate with them. I have told them, Har Ghar Tiranga. Is it a political campaign, Rahul? But they have opposed Har Ghar Tiranga. Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Who are we celebrating? We are celebrating all the stalwarts of the freedom movement. Most of them from the Congress party. Have they come together on it? No, they have opposed even that. They have not celebrated even that. So these people, for the sake of opposition, and we are more than happy to have a discussion on price rise, because Mr. Sen should tell us that wasn't the government of West Bengal represented in the GST council meeting. Can he show me a written dissent note that he has put forward in that meeting? Can Rajasthan government show me a written dissent note they have put forward in that meeting? Can Delhi government show a dissent note they put forward in the GST council meeting? And how many lies they have spread on this? Those who gave 10% inflation to this country.
No, so what are you saying? That they're running away from this debate because they
do not really want to.
What are you saying?
I'll tell you, we are saying let's have a discussion, but they are only for television, disruption and obstruction. They do not want a discussion, and because they will get exposed on GST, they get exposed on prices, they get exposed on COVID.
Dr. Sen, let me just quickly bring him in, as well as Dr. V. Sivadasan. Dr. Sen, quick response to Shehzad Poonawala.
ये तो हमको सुनने में ये लग रहा है कि उल्टा चोर कोतवाल को डांटे, उल्टा चोर कोतवाल को डांटे. वो बोल रहा है वी आर रनिंग अवे. योर प्राइम मिनिस्टर इज सो स्केयर्ड ही नेवर कम्स ऑन द फ्लोर टू आंसर एनी क्वेश्चन. He never presents any press conference. What are you talking about?
Mr. Sen, point of order. Mr. Sen, point of order. Who's your Prime Minister?
You are talking about...
Who's your Prime Minister, Mr. Sen?
You are talking about Parivar
This is the problem.
Who is Anurag Thakur? Who is Jyotiraditya Scindia?
One second, Mr. Sen, I have a point of order. At the point of order, you have to listen, right? At the point of order, you have to listen, right? That's the rule in Parliament. I have also worked in Parliament.
Can
sir,
you answer?
With utmost respect,
you are
Honorable
talking
MP.
about Parivartantra.
Sir,
and
Mr.
mostly
MP,
you are
I want to
talking
ask you a point of order.
Sir,
there's a point of order.
You are telling
sir, there's a point of order.
The entire country is listening to you.
Will you yield in an honorable way to my point of order? Sir, you said your Prime Minister. Who's your Prime Minister? You don't consider Parliament to be yours. You don't consider this government to be yours. This is the approach. Opposition for the sake of opposition. You just said your Prime Minister. Isn't he our Prime Minister?
And you are telling me
this is the problem. एक व्यक्ति का विरोध करते करते आप लोकतंत्र का विरोध करने लगे.
Now it's my point of order. You have to listen to me.
Did you say your Prime
I have
Minister?
given importance to your point of order. Now it's your time to give me the due importance.
Please go.
You tell me. You just now you said Mengai is a bahana.
Yes, for
Rice
you.
is a bahana. The entire country is listening to you. Rice is a bahana. LPG gas 1100 rupees is a bahana. GST on packed food is a bahana. GST on milk is a bahana.
Show me the written dissent note by Government of West Bengal on that. Show me the Government of West Bengal written dissent note. You are a representative of that government.
Shame on you.
You are the representative of the Government of West Bengal. You were represented in the GST Council. You were in the GST Council. Show me a dissent note and please shut me up by showing me the written dissent note in the GST Council.
You are telling price rise is a bahana.
Sir, it is a bahana because it is a bahana for you to take hostage Parliament. That is exactly what I'm saying. And if price rise was not a bahana, please tell me how much VAT you cut on petrol. When we gave 2 times excise duty cut on petrol and diesel, sir, how much VAT was West Bengal government cutting on petrol? Please tell us that. Sir, please tell us the VAT you cut on petrol. Please tell us the VAT you cut on petrol. Please tell us the VAT you cut on petrol. It is a bahana because you don't want to answer questions about Partha Chatterjee.
You see,
it is a bahana because you don't want to cut prices in West Bengal.
Everyone, 1 second, everyone, I'm stepping in. Now this is the problem, viewers. These debates are meant to be had on the floor of the House. Yet today, television channels are becoming substitutes for this. And I only raised a point, viewers, and please go back and check these facts. I'm telling you the facts as the statistics on the government website of Parliament, the Parliament website will show you. Not government, but Parliament website. The Lok Sabha, just this session, question hour, 0 hours the Lok Sabha, 0 hours Rajya Sabha on July 18th. If these are the questions that have to be asked, they have to be asked during question hour. 0 hours. Who's disrupting it? Now I want to bring in Dr. Sivadasan. Dr. Sivadasan, July 18th, 0 hours, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, question hour. July 19th, Lok Sabha, 0.2 hours, Rajya Sabha, 0 hours. July 20th, 21st, you can see the numbers. They're all there on your screens. Not even, sir, not even 1 hour in any of these days has this completed. Question hour. Who's losing out? And if the Speaker applies the laws that some of your own governments, which were populated by the left, have created to ensure that Parliament functions, what is wrong? Were you quashing democracy when you imposed all these laws to be applied? Simple question to you. Sivadasan, doctor.
Here your okay. Here your question. Yeah, very lengthy question you are raising here. So I think I will get the time for the reply to you. So here the government and the leaders of the BJP is saying the opposition is disrupting the house. That the words of the BJP leaders. But same words I am hearing from your side also. But what I am telling to you, the opposition, Dr. Santanu Sen and myself and all opposition members are inside the Parliament. They are raising the democratic rights, and they are requesting the chair, requesting the government to conduct the discussion. The Parliament is the center of debates and discussions that everybody knows. So the government is not ready to discuss the main
Sir, can I ask you a question? Dr. Saab, can I ask you a question, please? Dr. Sivadasan, can I ask you a question? And let's go over the rules of the House.
Okay,
Doesn't the 1989 updated Code of Conduct, sir, please, I'm reading this, deny. If you think that my research is poor, just deny it. Is the 1989 updated Code of Conduct, does it say this? Can't shout slogans, display placards and tear papers. What are we seeing in the pictures besides you, sir, on your screen? You probably can see Times Now on your screen. Just look. Charge packets are being held up, placards are being waved. Now, this is against the Code of Conduct. Am I right or am I wrong? Just tell me this. 89 Code of Conduct, does it specify this, yes or no?
Yes, I am. And Rahul, you please check the 267 of the rule book. That you please check. They are very clearly mentioning the suspension of rules. There, what I am reading that page. Any member may, with the consent of the chairman, move that any rule may be suspended in this application to a motion related to the business listed before the council of that day. And if the motion is carried, the rule in question shall be suspended for the time being. This is also the part of the rule book. And
Mr. Poonawala, respond on the rule book. Respond on the rule book. On that point, respond. Yes, Mr. Poonawala. Mr. Shehzad Poonawala, respond.
Even I would like to come into the debate, please.
1 second.
Okay.
Yes.
The protection.
How is
he's flashing the rule book in your face.
Yes, I'm
He's holding it up.
Can the honourable, I think he's a member of parliament from CPIM. Suspended member. Sir, how is this rule, when it is put to vote, it is put by vote by voice vote and it has to be accepted by the House? Only then it can go forward. Did you have the mandate of the House? So you don't have the mandate of the House, but you want to implement the rule. This is the problem. And tell me, which rule allows you to stand on the table? Which rules allows you to throw files at the chair? Which rules allows you to hold the marshal by the collar? Please, sir, these rules are also, when they are taken, they are put to vote. And if you have the mandate of the House, you can go ahead and ask for it. But when you don't have the mandate, but to say that because I want this, because I am from a parivar or I belong to a parivar, or an ecosystem, I will roughshod the majority of the House and I will bulldoze the majority because I want to make a point. That is not allowed. The House works on consensus and it works on majority. This is the brutal fact of Loktantra. So you have not got the majority. You have not got the consensus.
Okay, let him respond.
You want to
Dr. Sivadasan responding.
You see, the thing is that earlier Sushma Swaraj says, not allowing parliament is also a form of democracy. That the words of Sushma Swaraj. You see, Arun Jaitley, the leader of BJP earlier, he was, Arun Jaitley said,
I know
obstruction of parliament is in the favor of democracy. This is a statement of the BJP leaders. What we are requesting, the democratic discussion inside the parliament. Today, what was happened in the parliament, you know that?
Yes, I know exactly.
Parliament member from West Bengal.
Yes, now let him respond.
He participated in while he was participating in the discussion.
Rahul, please make
the chair and the treasury bench, members of the treasury bench, they tried to disturb him. At that time, all opposition members have supported him, and they requested chair to allow him to speak. There, what has happened? The treasury bench and the respected deputy chairman also trying to stop him to speak. This is undemocratic thing. That is why I quoted the word parliament.
Okay, so you quoted Mr. Jaitley. This is what Mr. Jaitley said. Let me quote him accurately. Shehzad Poonawala, respond. Parliamentary obstruction is not undemocratic. At times, obstruction in parliament brings greater benefits.
Absolutely.
What was Mr. Jaitley saying then in August 26, 2012, January 30, 2011? Sushma Swaraj said, not allowing parliament to function also a form of democracy. Yes. September 7, 2012. What has changed?
Yes. Mr. Jaitley said that when the Supreme Court had held that there was Gapla in the licenses of 2G and they were not even allowing a discussion on that matter, that's when this was a strategy or a tactic resorted to. And at this time, have we said no for a discussion on price rise? Is there a Supreme Court order on price rise? And what did Mr. Manmohan Singh say? Manmohan Singh ji said that opposition has equal responsibility to run the House. Why don't they quote that statement of Mr. Manmohan Singh? Have they cast him aside into the annals of ignorance? So why aren't you quoting Mr. Manmohan Singh? There was a context to that, Rahul. You know that Mr. Jaitley said that after Supreme Court has ruled on it, we are asking for a discussion on it. The House is not being allowed to discuss it. And today there is openness on the Treasury benches that come, let us discuss. But they want to hold the House hostage. And by the way, sir, CPIM MP, sir, who takes a call on the suspension? The suspension motion is passed by the majority of the House. You have not been suspended by BJP. You have not been suspended by the central government. The House in its wisdom has taken a decision that your unruly behavior should be punished by suspending you. Are you now contradicting the wisdom of the House? You can contradict wisdom of Supreme Court. You can contradict wisdom of Sena. You can also contradict the wisdom of the House that you are a part of.
Dr. Sivadasan. We also have Dr. Sen with us, and I want to bring in Sena Poonawala, Tushar Gupta right after. Yes. Yes.
You see, the parliament, inside the parliament, BJP has some majority of votes. That's because of that majority of votes, they are not allowing to discuss the issues because they are worried about the discussion on price rise. They are worried about the discussion of Agnipath. They are worried about the discussion on unemployment. Because here unemployment is rising day by day, that we are seeing. The Agnipath, another issue is here, lakhs of jobs are vacant. You see, in military, the recently one government has replied the question, 1,36,000 of jobs are vacant in army. See,
okay.
Another important thing is, you know, I received one answer from the Ministry of Social Justice. Now, single.
Okay, let's open this up. Let's open this up further. Fine. You're saying brute majority is being used to stymie the voice of the opposition. No debates are being conducted because the motion brought to conduct those debates are quashed. Okay, let's open this up. Tushar Gupta and Sena Poonawala step in. Tushar Gupta, do you find merit in the argument that is being put forward by Dr. Sen and Dr. Sivadasan? Mr. Gupta.
Rahul, I've been listening patiently for the last 20 odd minutes, so please allow me a couple of minutes.
Yes.
Rahul, I'm a common citizen. I do not represent the BJP. I do not represent the Congress. I won't be as decorated parliamentarian as the other panelists on this debate. But I'm a citizen. I vote because I want a parliament to function. And as much as I like a majority government, I want an intelligent opposition as well, be it with 50 seats, be it with 100 seats, but I want an intelligent opposition. I'm a common citizen. I pay my taxes, which pays the salaries of this parliamentarian. So I want them to come up with ideas. But I'm also exhausted looking at the opposition, be it any party, be it the Congress, be it the TMC largely, out of ideas, intellectually bankrupt. They might want to say that they want to debate issues, they want to debate price rise, they want to debate unemployment. But lots been going on in the last 8 years. On Aadhaar, they were against the government, disregarding the public benefit. On digital payments, Chidambaram said that they will never be adopted by people at large, again dismissing the idea. On Doklam, Rahul Gandhi, who's today sitting on the street saying we are not being allowed to participate in debates, was meeting Chinese ambassadors while Doklam was going on. Pulwama, the same opposition parties were begging for an evidence from the government on the surgical strikes. Kashmir, Article 370 revocated, 70 years of historical wrong done right. But these parties were more concerned about the Abdullahs, about the entire political bickering around it. COVID happened, Rahul. COVID-19 was one day when the parties should have come together. When the parties should have come together. The vaccine process gets decentralized, they want them to centralize. We see toolkits emerging. Agnipath protest to fix the recruitment in the army. The opposition is again not participating in any debates. Farm laws. Congress government was in Punjab when farm laws were introduced. Were not private contractors working with the farmers in Punjab? They were. Wasn't Cotton Corporation of India procuring from the farmers of Punjab?
So you're saying this is opposition for opposition's sake? Okay, Sena Poonawala, for opposition's sake, the speaker has stepped in and said, look, there is a code, I'm going to exercise it now. And the code was not brought up by the BJP, drawn up by the BJP, it was drawn up by plenty of other governments. Some of them had the Congress pretty much helming them. Go ahead.
Rahul, I'm the last speaker in your esteemed panel, and I seek refuge and protection from you as the speaker. And you'll give me a couple of minutes to expose the lies of the present union government and its representative sitting in your studio. The present representative of the union government says Rule 267 notice is a vote of the House. He's right on that. But what he does not tell you and does not tell the citizens of India is the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, the Honorable Vice President of India, since 2016 has not accepted one notice. Not accepted one notice from the honorable members of parliament from the opposition to have a discussion on the Rule 267, let aside a voting. So come here with half facts, that's not true. Rahul, I'm a man of data because your TV debates are watched nationally and internationally. Under the UPA government, 71% of the bills went to parliamentary committee, a constitutional provision of the in our scheme of things. Under Modi ji, it's come down to 20%. The average discussion in Lok Sabha has come down to 23 minutes, and I mean, if that does not suit Mr. Modi and the current government, bills that are meant to be discussed in both houses of parliament are passed off as finance bills so that in Rajya Sabha they face no hurdles. The previous speaker spoke about the agriculture bill. That's where I want to end. The Vice President of India and the chair of the Rajya Sabha passed the agriculture bills on a voice vote when opposition members kept asking for a division of vote, a fundamental right of members. He passed it. 700 farmers were martyred. If this is not destroying the democracy, if this is not destroying parliament, what is destroying parliament? I ask this question from the representative of the government.
Mr. Poonawala wants to respond. Yes, Shehzad Poonawala to Tehseen Poonawala. Gets a bit confusing with the Poonawalas, but yes, Shehzad,
this is the problem with spurious arguments and fact-free allegations. Now,
I'm the one for the country.
1 second now, you just said that you wanted protection, but you want to intrude on my rights. This is the problem. This is the Shaheen Bagh mindset. कि अगर मेरे तरीके से ना हो तो मैं सड़क पर बैठ जाऊंगा. I'll take hostage to parliament. I'll just give you a small example. When we used to play cricket as young children, after I used to finish bowling and my time to bat used to come, Tehseen would run away with the bat and the ball. This is what he's doing in parliament also. This is the problem, Rahul. Now let me tell you, these people said, no discussion, no deliberation, revoke the 3 farm laws. When Prime Minister Modi took those laws back, they are saying, no. Let's have a discussion before revoking those laws. I mean, what do you want? This is the hypocrisy. In GST Council, they go and they say, no, we will have this kind of provision. And then they come to Parliament and they say, no, you have put taxes on certain things that we didn't want. But they will not show me one dissent note. Tell me the dissent note from Government of Rajasthan in the GST Council. Please, Tehseen, tell me that dissent note. Show me that dissent. Forget that. They will also lie about Prime Minister doing namaskar to the President of India.
Okay.
This is what they've been reduced to.
Look, viewers, let's go back to the facts. Please, everyone, please, let's go back to the facts. Let's go back to the first graphics I played out. Now, viewers, what is disruption costing us? Because Parliament is not sitting or functioning. 1952 to 1970, 121 days. Sittings of Lok Sabha down in the last 22 years to just 68 days. Lawmaking. 8th Lok Sabha 84 to 89, 355 bills passed. 15th Lok Sabha 2009 to 2014, 192 bill passed, albeit it was the most disrupted house. Next, question hour. 16th Lok Sabha, 18% only of start questions orally answered. 15th Lok Sabha 2009 to 2014, 10% of start questions orally answered. Look at the abysmal statistics there, viewers. Question hour this session. Number of hours, Lok Sabha on July 18th, 0. Rajya Sabha, 0. And the statistics continue on your screens. July 25th, Lok Sabha, 0.33%, 0.33 hours. Question hour duration. Rajya Sabha, 0 hours. This is till yesterday, viewers. When this is a situation, something needs to be done. Suspending MPs, is that a solution? Some people would say yes. But the reason we are having this second debate today on this subject, viewers, is because it concerns the well-being of our democracy. If our democracy weakens, cannot do what it is set up to do, which is to give us a voice, we may as well all go home. The choice, viewers, is before us. Do we allow ruckus to become the rule, or do we impose the rules to curb the ruckus? Some people say this is still very light. Yesterday we had a speaker who said, shorten the duration of MPs' tenures in Parliament if they are found to be egregiously violating the rules. Viewers, think about it. We are going to move on to another very big discussion